Welcome back to Bible Answers. I'm so glad you're here with us today. And if you're new, please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any Bible studies and spiritual discussions. Now, today we're diving into one of the most talked about topics in the Bible, and that's love. Love. Now, love is one of those things that everybody talks about, but let's face it, we all get confused about what it really means sometimes. Is it a feeling or something deeper? Well, the Bible has a lot to say about it, and trust me, it's way more than the mushy rom-com stuff we often think about. So, let's look at the top 5 Bible verses on love and really unpack what they teach us with a couple of Bible stories thrown in for good measure. Now, the first one is Matthew 22:37 and 39. In the NIV, it says, Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind." This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as well. Now, all right, we're starting off strong with this one. Jesus doesn't beat around the bush here. He tells us that the most important thing is to love God with everything we've got. After thinking about this, he says we need to love our neighbors just like we love ourselves. And basically, he's saying, hey, love God. Then show that love to everyone around you. Now, you might be thinking, who exactly is my neighbor in terms of what the Bible says about it? And no, it's not just the person next door who mows their lawn at 7 a.m. Remember, the story of the Good Samaritan is a good example. A man was beaten and left for dead, and while a few people walked by, a Samaritan, someone who actually from a group of people not even friendly with the Jews, stopped by to help. He loved his neighbor, and even though they were strangers, so yeah, loving your neighbor means everyone, even the person who cuts in line at the grocery store. Now, in 1 Corinthians 13:4 and 7 in the NIV, it says, "Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking, and it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres." Now, okay, this one is like the ultimate description of love. It is the Hallmark card of the Bible, but way better. We've all heard this at weddings, right? But it's more than just romantic love. Paul's teaching tells us what real love looks like in every situation. Patience, kindness, no bragging, no holding grudges. I mean, let's be honest. We all need a little work on some of these, right? I mean, I do. Think about Joseph in the Old Testament. Remember when his brother sold him into slavery? I mean, that's pretty low. But later, when Joseph becomes a powerful man in Egypt, his brother comes to him for help. Not even realizing it's him at first. Instead of holding a grudge, Joseph forgives him. Talk about not keeping a record of wrongs. Now, that is what I call true love in action. As we move to the third verse, John 15 and 13, it reads, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friend." Now, here Jesus is talking about the ultimate act of love, sacrificing yourself for others. And Jesus didn't just say it, he did it. His whole life was a giant love letter to humanity. He laid down his life on the cross for us. But let's bring this into a more everyday level. Sacrificing doesn't always mean doing something as huge as laying down your life, though that's the ultimate, as Jesus did. Sometimes it's small things like giving up your free time to help a friend in need, or letting someone else take the last cookie, which, let's be real, is a big sacrifice. It's about putting others first, like Jesus did for us. In 1 John 4 and 19, it says, "We love because first he loved us." This one is simple but super powerful. The only reason we know how to love is because God showed us what love looks like. He loved us first. He's the OG of love. When we love others, we're basically passing on the love that God has already poured into us. And here's a great story just to illustrate the point. Remember Zacchaeus, the tax collector? This guy wasn't exactly popular. People basically saw him as a thief because he took extra money from them. But when Jesus saw Zacchaeus, he didn't treat him like everyone else did. Oh no, he loved him. Even though the guy had a shady reputation, Jesus invited himself over to his house for dinner, and because Jesus loved Zacchaeus first, Zacchaeus' heart changed. He gave back the money he had taken from the people, and that's truly the power of being loved first. Now, in our final verse, it comes from Romans 12:9 and 10. Love must be sincere. Hate what is evil, cling to what is good, be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. Now, this one is like the how-to guide for love. Paul tells us that love needs to be real, not fake. It's about being genuinely devoted to each other and putting others above yourself. It's like that classic line, actions speak louder than words. But look, let's talk about Ruth and Naomi. Ruth showed sincere, selfless love when she chose to stay with her mother-in-law Naomi, even after her husband, Naomi's son, had died. Ruth didn't have to stay, but she did. She honored Naomi above herself, and that devotion led to a huge blessing in both of their lives. So, there you have it. 5 Bible verses that exactly tell us what love is all about. From loving your neighbor to putting others first, the Bible is crystal clear. Love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice, a commitment, and sometimes even a sacrifice. Thanks for sticking around to chat about love today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and share it with someone who could use a little more love in their lives, because let's be real, who couldn't? And don't forget to subscribe so that you can join us next time for more deep dives into what the Bible says about, well, pretty much anything. See you next time, and remember, love God, love people, and maybe even love the person who cuts in front of you in the grocery store line. We'll see you in the next video.